Hello, welcome to Code Escuela, and we're back to where we left up from our previous video. And so you might be wondering where we are right now for those who have just seen the video or skipped to this one. Uh, just a quick recap. We started or we were trying to build a queuing system. Okay, so from the previous video, we started with our project. So we created a uh, quick mock-up of what the application would look like, and then we already started coding our Blazor application. Uh, since then, I was having trouble trying to run and trying to get the button to function or trigger the click event of it. And so, yeah, it took me some time to find that, yeah, with this one for it to work, there's one thing that we missed. Okay, so let's head back to our IDE here, right? So, but before we do that, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so that you get updated to our latest videos in the future. All right. So, yeah. So one thing that I forgot to add to our Razor component page is this one. So we need to set the render mode into interactive server. Okay. So prior to this one, before, while I was doing the Blazor prior to version 8, is that uh, you have to set the render mode in the host file. Okay, so in the case of server side Blazor, you have to set it in the underscore host dot CSHTML file. It's there where you set the render mode, either server side or the WebAssembly one. All right. So but this time, for your Razor components to work, you need to add this render mode interactive server, which means I guess it's now becoming a uh, by page render mode. Okay, so as before, the render mode is already only set once, then that gets carried on for the entire application. Okay, so from where we left off uh, from the previous video, I was trying to uh, trigger the generate queue from this button. And so, and then adding this render mode directive, interactive server, and then we should be able to uh, trigger our generate button. So let's just quickly try and run this one first. So hopefully this time it would work. Yeah. So again, please bear with me if I have missed something or uh, some things that uh, I have not looked into since I've come to this one unprepared. Yeah, there's no plan. I just straight on to this project. All right. So let me pull up the application here. Okay. So now if you click generate, then we should be uh, executing the generate queue method, right? So that means that, yeah, we've successfully uh, bind bound this button to our method, right? So just continue, let's press F5. And then if we look at our console, then we could see that queue size is now set to 0, which means, yeah, oh good. Now let's close this one. Let's exit out of this one. Okay. And then now we will start initializing our queue. Okay. So this one is uh, to let's say, let's just make it simple. Let's by default set our queue to oh no, let's just put it like that. So let's add here by default 100. Then find the queue size by default is 100, right? And then now here it's where we initialize our queue into 100 items or 100 uh, numbers or 100 clients. Okay, so maybe we should be storing this one uh, globally. Let's move this. Let's copy this first. Let's do this and move this up. Okay, like that. Then we initialized it. So now let's try and run this again. Let's see. Okay, hopefully my window next time would run the same screen. Okay, now we have our generate, and then yeah, by default we have 100 clients to serve. Click generate. Yeah, nothing happened. So uh, what should we do next? So what would be next in our mockup? Okay, now we have this another page that would show what's the next item. Okay, then you have a button that would allow the user to serve that client. Okay, so let's head back here, and what should we do? Should we store the uh, next client? Okay, let's do that. Let's quit this one first. Okay, and let's add another variable next client. Let's add this one. I like doing this one, right? But by default, you don't necessarily need to have the private modifier. Okay, so click next. Okay, so maybe let's add here a section that shows after initializing uh, our or clicking the generate button, then we will show the queue uh, queue size. Okay, or maybe just queue size. Let's do that. Add a label here, size, then say set an underscore. Dot rename this one underscore my queue. Then let's just display it here. Queue size dot we have no, it's my queue dot we have some method. We have your account. Okay, then after doing that, let's clear up the uh, maybe let's just hold us that off for a bit here. So let's try running this again, see how it would look. Okay, generate. Whoops, it's null. All right, so let's lanes because yeah, I've not initialized. Maybe we could add but nullable. We only show the count if it's not null, the myQ variable. See, yep, go fresh again and then generate. Now the queue size is 0. How does that happen? So let's double check. Let's generate, and my queue now has I see. We haven't placed anything in it yet. We just initialize of how much size or capacity of the queue would take up, right? So that's, I guess that's fine. And then since it's still 0, okay, so that's fine. So let's just move on to the uh, next function is to allow the user to serve uh, the the client. Okay, so with the queue you have first in first out, so we might have missed something here. So let's see, what else could we pass here? Is it possible to pass anything else? Capacity, lecture. All right, or maybe let's just initialize it here using a for loop, right? So let's say n is equal to 0, let's 100. Okay, start with 1, extend to 0, and then q. And q is where you add an item to your queue, right? So let's say I. That's it. Let's just make this one line. It's much more compact. It's what I do prefer also. If it's just a single line for the body of the for loop, then let's try running again. Okay. I wish the application window come up this screen instead of other screen. So let's click generate. Let's continue. Okay, now we have our queue size. Yeah, it just indicates that we have already filled in our queue with 100 values from 1 to 100. So now we can serve 100 clients. Okay. So now I think we can start doing the other function or feature, which is this one, to serve uh, a client. Okay. So what should we do next? So what we can do is, let's post this one up first. So let's just create that page. Okay. Let's add user component. Okay. Let's name it serve. Okay. Sorry. Then let's add our page directive as serve. Then next, again, let's not forget the render mode. Oh, check. Render mode, right? Mode is equal to active server. Then let's add this one to our menu. Let's just copy and paste this one. See, let's paste it here and let's name this serve. For our serve page, the href for the nav link would be serve. Right. So we have our serve, and then let's try again running this one. Okay. Pull this up. Now we have our serve page. We have serve page. Yeah, it seems to be working. Now we can start building up our serve page. So, what should we do in our serve page? Based upon our mock-up, this one, center one, serve, we have a label that says next, and then the next in line, and then it's a button that would allow us to serve the client. Okay, so how should we accomplish that? Here, let's add a div, and then label. It says next, and the next, and then another next to it. We have to add the button. Let's just put this in the next line. Button type, button, the button name or label is serve. Okay, let's add a method here. Private void serve, simple as that. Then let's see, let's bind it at a click serve. That's it. We have this red squiggly line. Stop debugging first. Services, closing, access. It's here. Generate. Private. Now it's complaining something else. Let's just, again, it's clashing with the name of our component. Let's just name this serve client, I think. It's good. And now, let's see. So now we have our queue here, but there's no way for us to somehow share the data from this queue. Okay, so maybe what we can do is turn this one some sort of a service, a singleton service that we can use throughout the three pages or three components. So let's see. Let's open app, user, and program. So here in our program, let's see how we can inject services here. So let's head back here. How should we accomplish this one? Okay, let's just add first folder. Just name it services, and then let's add a class. Class queue service. Okay, so this one would handle initializing our queue and then getting the next queue in line, being that item from the queue or client from the queue. That should be what we were, or what we are trying to accomplish here. Okay, so now what do we do next? Let us revisit. Let me open our browser. Let's try look up some documentations for Blazor. Blazor, see, injection. So here, first one, dependency injection. We have this. Also have okay, again, I remember. So we can build services to add singleton. So now you map interface to your uh implementation. How do we do this in your program? Services that What else? It's prior to run async. So this one is it's ASP.NET server side services that okay, we have here. For foreign examples, interface of data access. It's a singleton, right? So add again the same singleton. Oh, it gives you an option to map an interface to the implementation. Okay, maybe we can do a weather service. Okay, so uh, what have we done here is let's revisit uh, the default template. If you can remember, we have the weather service as part of the code that has been generated for this template. We can take a look at that one, how it was accomplished there. Clean up. Okay, we have counter razor files. This one have something in it. So how was the weather service was injected? Let's see. Or did have? Let's see. Ah, now the seems to be that the new template for Blazor has uh, a different kind of code. So now it doesn't have that. For example, you have the weather forecast page. So with the weather forecast, you have like previously, as I can remember, you have separated it into a service. But this one, you have straight up from did they get the data from weather forecast? Okay. So this was just some sort of sample data. All right, I see. But yeah, I guess we've already uh, seen here in the documentation that for us to inject our own services, we can simply or use add singleton. This one, we can try this one for their service. Okay, add singleton. Is that what it is? It really? Or we can try checking it out. Let's run a new project again. Okay, this is gonna be like trial and error for me. So it's my first time dealing with Blazor, uh, the latest one, the version 8. Let's just try this web app. Oop, I forgot to share my screen. Here we go. Blazor app 1, let's test. 8. Okay. This is probably why we need to indicate the render mode on a per page basis as compared to the global. Okay. Makes sense? Let's hit create. Let's just wait for this one. Generate and see how they did this one. Okay. Up the window here. Yeah, that's the difference. Now the components have no more services, but instead, in their example, the weather uh, component or page has been its code has been already been part of its uh, code inside of it already. Okay. Now, if you look at the old one, so now we don't see an example of injecting a custom service. Okay, for our application. Now, if we try a new project, using the old one. Let's say search Blazor, and then we have this server app, Blazor server app template. Click next. Okay, then click next again. Yep, we're still running .NET 6 for this one, or 7. Let's hit create. Okay, so we can have example. Okay, so now we have a different set of folders for the generated template project. Okay, so now we have here, if you notice, there's two items. This is the weather forecast and then weather forecast service. If you open the weather forecast service, it's much like the same code from the version 8, but has been separated out in its own server class, service class, I mean. And now that is hooked up using here in your program. You notice this line, that is where this service is getting hooked up. Now, every time you want to use weather forecast service, then you just call it here. Example, in our fetch data.razor, you have here this line, inject weather forecast service. Now it becomes available, okay, throughout the rest of your application. So let's try doing that one in our queuing system. Okay, let's head back here. Let me close this one so I don't get confused. Okay, now we're back here. Now we have our queue service. So with our queue service, let's have a field. Let's got here. So now we have this private field here. Let maybe we can just copy this entire thing here for our class. Okay, that we have that. Now it's all in a separate class. So instead, uh, we can add a constructor that will receive size, which by default is 100, right? Let's remove this one. Then let's set the size here. Size, queue size is equal to queue size. Right now we have our constructor that we can initialize the size of our queue. Okay. Next is now we don't need, I guess we don't need to have this generate queue, but we will call that one as part of our initialization. Okay, so now what happens is that we'll call generate queue with okay, size. Maybe I'm confusing something here. Queue size. Okay. Since we need to modify our generate queue method here, so let's just pass in the size. Okay. We don't need this anymore. Is there a way for us to see something? Some skips. What else should we see here? I guess not. So let's just store the queue size. Okay, size generate size. Okay, have that. Next up is uh so s- since this is gonna be injected by default, we won't be having a way of manually setting the queue size. It will just be available. So I think we are doing some, this won't be appropriate for this one. So I think we need to open up this method. It public allows us the generate queue option. Then don't need this one, I guess. Think size. That's it. Let's store the queue size. Queue size. Initialize our. Yeah, that's it. Right? Should be something. Oops. Okay. I heard that my timer has now set off. Our 30 minutes of uh, time spent for this one is already up. So I guess we shall continue this one next time. So this is what we have accomplished so far. So I guess it's not that much, but yeah, hopefully we should be able to have or to accomplish more of this one as we continue to develop this application. And so, yeah, if you have any other thoughts, ideas, or whatever you have in mind that you'd like to share, please don't hesitate to put it in the comment section, and we'll see if, yeah, what we can do uh, next time in our uh, as we continue on working up this out this project. And hopefully, yeah, we'll have or will enjoy and learn much more from this one. And so I guess, yeah, that's it. So maybe I'll see you again next time. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to get updated with our latest videos in the future. And I hope you won't stop or get bored with this one. So again, I'm excited for our next video, and yeah, hope to see you again soon. And yeah, cheers everyone. Yeah, have a great day, and bye bye.